Samsung A50s smartphone was launched in September 2019. The phone comes with a 6.4-inch Super AMOLED touchscreen display with an aspect ratio of 19.5:9. It is powered by Exynos 9610 processor. It comes with 6GB of RAM. As far as the cameras are concerned, the Samsung A50s on the rear packs a triple camera setup consisting of a 48-megapixel main shooter and 8-megapixel ultra-wide lens along with a 5-megapixel depth sensor. There is a 32-megapixel camera on the front for selfies. This device is based on Android 9.0 Pie and packs 128GB of inbuilt storage that can be expanded via microSD card up to 1TB. It is powered by a 4000 mAh battery with 15-watt fast battery charging support. Samsung Galaxy A50 have curved back and light build. It offers excellent in-hand feel. The panel is dominated by a stunning nearly edge-to-edge display with a U-shaped notch on top and a slight chin at the bottom. The rear panel has a glossy glass finish, but it is actually made of polycarbonate. The phone comes with Infinity U Super AMOLED screen that just looks fabulous. It has a full HD+ resolution with 19.5:9 aspect ratio. The screen is bright, vibrant and seems well calibrated. The Galaxy A50 display also comes embedded with a fingerprint sensor. The Samsung Galaxy A50 is driven by an Exynos 9610 chipset. Samsung's in-house developed chip is based on 10nm process and comprises octa-core divided into two quad-core clusters. The chipset is coupled with Mali G72 MP3 GPU to meet your graphics requirement. Galaxy A50 unit featured 4GB of RAM. The Galaxy A50 consists of triple camera system as one of its major highlights. Samsung has once again opted for a 25-megapixel primary sensor with 1.7 aperture, which is coupled with a 5-megapixel sensor which have 2.2 aperture and an 8-megapixel wide-angle sensor which have 2.2 aperture also. For selfie lovers, there is also a 25-megapixel camera which have 2.0 aperture placed right inside the U-shaped notch. The design is cool, AMOLED display is good quality, the One UI software is better than what most other Android brands have to offer, and battery backup is excellent. The day-to-day performance should be good enough for average users over a longer period of time. Samsung Galaxy M40 is the fourth installment in the company's online exclusive M series. It's also the first M series phone to include a competent Qualcomm chipset and Samsung's striking One UI software. The front of the M40 is dominated by an Infinity O display, whereas the O represents a punch hole. Samsung has managed a 91% screen-to-body ratio, and that makes Galaxy M40 quite manageable and handy. The Galaxy M40 has a 6.3-inch screen which has FHD+ resolution amounting to 409 ppi. It shows punchy colors, can achieve a maximum brightness of up to 480 nits, and the calibration is quite good. The Galaxy M40 is driven by Qualcomm Snapdragon 675 chipset with 6GB of DDR4 RAM and 128GB of internal storage. M40 have 32 megapixel with 1.7 aperture sensor as a primary rear camera. The primary sensor gets the assistance of 5 megapixel depth sensor in portrait mode. There is another 8 megapixel sensor on the back that can capture ultra wide angle shots. Apart from these rear cameras, there is a 16 megapixel with a 2.0 aperture sensor for a selfie on the front of the phone. The Galaxy M40 fixes what has traditionally been a limitation of affordable Samsung phones. This time Samsung particularly focuses on the performance hardware and uses the popular tried and tested Qualcomm chipset instead of a value Exynos SoC chipset. This smartphone sports a big 6.4-inch displays with water drop notch, which Samsung calls Infinity U displays. The bezels aren't thin but are acceptable for the price. Samsung has retained the Exynos 9611 chipset from the Galaxy M30s. This is an octa-core processor with great performance. For graphics, it has the Mali G72 GPU. You get 6GB of RAM and a choice between a 64GB storage variant and a 128GB of storage variant. The device is fairly quick to load up apps, however big apps do take slightly longer. Since there is plenty of RAM, multitasking is very easy. The Galaxy M31 sports a quad camera setup at the back and a single 32-megapixel selfie shooter. The primary camera on the Galaxy M31 has a 64-megapixel resolution and 1.8 aperture. There's also an 8-megapixel ultra-wide-angle camera with a 120-degree field of view. The other two are 5 megapixel depth sensor and a 5 megapixel macro camera. Samsung's camera app is the same as before. Photos turned out well and have decent details. The smartphone enables HDR automatically if required. Switching to the wide-angle camera is easy and you can get a wider field of view. This phone is capable of separating subjects and backgrounds when shooting close-ups. Photos taken in low light looked good. Rear camera can record 4K video at 30 fps. There is a single 32 megapixel camera on the front. Selfies taken with the Galaxy M31 were decent when shot with sufficient lighting around. The front delivers good quality pictures all around. You can also record 4K video with the front camera. The Galaxy M31 packs in a big 6000 mAh battery with 15W fast charging support. The overall design of this phone remains similar to its predecessor, the Galaxy M20, but Samsung has made several improvements with the Galaxy M21. The 1080p OLED notch display is now 6.4 inches, up from 6.3 inches. The phone will be available in black and blue. Internally, the specs are also improved. The Galaxy M21 features a faster Exynos 9611 processor. The RAM and internal storage of its base model have increased to 4GB and 64GB. On its rear, there are now 3 cameras rather than 2, thanks to the addition of a new 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera alongside the 5 megapixel depth sensor. The resolution of the main sensor has also been bumped up from 13 to 48 megapixels. The selfie camera now features a 20 megapixel sensor up from 8 megapixel. There is also a rear mounted fingerprint sensor, a USB Type-C port and a 3.5mm headphone jack. This phone packs a big 6000 mAh battery with 15W fast battery charging support. Doing well in the Indian market is important for Samsung, especially after India had surpassed the US to become the second largest smartphone market in the world. However, Samsung's market share in the country declined between 2018 and 2019. Samsung released this phone to win back buyers from Chinese rivals, whose phones have stolen market share from the world's largest handset maker.